Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. And once again, this is the one-day chart. We're sitting here at $3.23. I've just been making video after video because there's so many things I wanted to talk about in the video I did prior to this one. And I still cannot believe that the Ripple versus SEC case is over. You know, people thought that was going to linger on into 2026. Delay after delay after delay. I don't think it's fully hit me yet that case is finally over. XRP Ledger hits record 7.3 million addresses. I think what's going on is people are positioning themselves. A lot of new investors are also coming into this space. A lot of people are investing into XRP. I think it's because they see the return on investment that they could get from this cryptocurrency. I've been telling everybody, you know, if you want to make a lot of money in the next couple of months, you need to get invested now, because the next couple of months are going to be life-changing for most XRP holders, for every XRP holder, because the money that's just going to pour in and push the price higher and higher, it's going to be astronomical. So even the normies, the people that never invested in the crypto, I'm always telling them, position yourself now. You're not even tying up your money for a long period of time. It is go time in crypto. Alt season is about to happen, and if you want to cash in, get in now. Even if you don't want to invest long term, even if you don't believe in crypto, why not just make a shit ton of money while you can? You know, the money that could be made in this space, whatever you put in, you could figure on a 10x from here, and that's minimum. I still think we're going to be looking more at like a 20 to 50x in this run. But you're not tying up your money, and why not make a lot of money while you have the chance? And this is what I wanted to show you in that previous video. If Ripple wins the SEC lawsuit, XRP is poised for significant adoption. Remember when JP Morgan said that? You know, JP Morgan is the reason that Ripple got tied up in the lawsuit to begin with. They wanted some of that escrow. Ripple told them to screw off, and they went to their friends in Washington, and all of a sudden, we had the SEC versus Ripple case begin. But now the case is over, and let's let the adoption begin. XRP called commodity in CFTC filing. The reason I wanted to point this out, because Stuart Alderati just addressed the Senate GOP on crypto regulations. He's worried that a lot of power is going to be given over to the SEC. And I think he wants it to shift more towards the CFTC, because they see XRP as a commodity. And we already know that XRP is not a security. But right now we have a pro-crypto SEC. But are we going to have that same pro-crypto SEC under the next administration? I think Stuart Alderati wants to make sure they get everything in place before a new administration comes into Washington in 2028. Because that could change everything. And I think that's why they want to get ahead of it now. XRP tops Wisdom Tree's July report with 384% gains, outperforms top crypto assets. Not just outperforms, crushes the competition. And you see it right here. XRP, 384% gains. Ether, 14%. Bitcoin, 79%. Cardano, 90%. Solana, 0%. So this shows you what's going on. XRP is already outperforming the rest, and I expect that to continue. And even the new retail money that's coming into this space, most of it is going into XRP because it's the #3 cryptocurrency. Most people can't afford to invest into ETH anymore. And most people are way priced out of Bitcoin. So where are they going to start parking their money? XRP. Here comes Wall Street for XRP and other altcoins. Take a listen to Canary Capital's Steve McClurg on spot crypto ETFs.
I'm wondering, you have all these applications now with the SEC for spot crypto ETFs tied to altcoins, including XRP and Litecoin. So I know you can't talk about these specific filings, but what do you think happens with those filings in general, with those spot crypto ETFs tied to altcoins?
Well, the SEC has been working very closely with the exchanges, NASDAQ, CBOE, New York Stock Exchange, over the last 6 months to create a generic listing standard. And that got published in the last week. So what the generic listing standard will do is give at least some standards so that you don't have to go through an entire process like we did with Bitcoin, with other cryptocurrencies. That generic listing standard largely looks at futures. And does this token have a futures market in the US or not? And that's one of the qualifications. There's several other qualifications that also apply to other commodities. But if you look at what's proposed and what's public, it's still in the 21-day comment period. But once that's over, we do expect to see a lot of altcoins launching probably in September, October.
So it looks like September, October is the timeline for these spot crypto ETFs. And that follows the timeline as well for alt season. And that gives us more of a signal that XRP could be above $10 plus by the end of October. Let's see how it all plays out. This comes from Ondo Finance. We're witnessing a once-in-a-generation shift in traditional finance. Capital markets are moving on-chain, and this transformation will reshape the entire industry for decades to come. Once-in-a-generation shift. I think this shift that we're seeing now is the flip of the switch. You know, everybody always thought they were just going to come out one night and all of a sudden XRP is going to skyrocket. But what I think it is it's the transition from the current system into the new digital system. I think the flip of the switch could be when the banks come out of the testing phase on the private ledger. Weebus adds XRP token and Ripple USD payment options to platform. So the new payment options allow travelers to purchase product vouchers and promotional coupons using these cryptocurrencies, with transactions automatically linked to users, account benefits, and activity profiles, bringing XRP token and RLUSD to WeTour's mobile web streaming, streamlines checkout, and immediately credits vouchers or coupons to the traveler's account. Again, they're utilizing both RLUSD and XRP. Real world uses of both of these assets. But we're going to see more of XRP being involved side by side with RLUSD. I always said that RLUSD is the door opener for XRP. This comes from Uphold. What's the one feature no one talks about but every project needs? I would have said utility. They say not flashy, not viral, but essential. Reliability. I think every project requires utility and use case. Beyond that, it needs great leadership as well. A great team behind it, like we see with XRP. I mean, come on, Brad is just crushing it. Acquisition after acquisition, and they're strategic acquisitions. They're not just buying up companies. They're strategically lining up for RLUSD and XRP as well. This Bitcoin cycle is so weird. I think everybody's starting to realize something bigger is happening. It's not that the cycle is weird. What's going on is this. I think they delayed this cycle with the real world events that were playing out and all the tariff talk. But I think the shift is also happening at the same time. Now you got institutions actually talking about XRP. You have big companies talking about a XRP ETF in the coming months, in the coming weeks. And then beyond that, you're starting to see the whole world shift. It's happening in the US, it's happening in Japan, and so on. Even in the United States, you could see how in Washington, they're talking about the digital age now. They're talking about innovation. They're talking about cross-border payments. And everything's pushing Bitcoin into the background. That's what's really going on. Some people see it, others don't. And it's going to continue as we move forward. Be prepared for a lot more XRP is centralized garbage, blah, blah, blah talk as we rack up more wins. The bidder will double down on ideological narratives about how they are the only real and true crypto. The more mainstream we go, the less their once monopoly will exist. We got a level playing field now. You know, we got clarity for XRP. The field is leveled. And now we're going to see how XRP performs in a level playing field. No more suppression coming from the Ripple versus SEC case. And now that that ended, it's like crickets. You don't hear any of these Bitcoin maxis running around screaming, oh, that's a banker's coin. Oh, every other coin other than Bitcoin is a shit coin. It's all nonsense. They got to keep the hype alive so the price continues to hold up. But that's all changing. Kraken exec says tokenized stocks will let you buy coffee with Tesla. I thought this was great because this kind of puts into perspective what they want to do with tokenization. So Kraken also plans to integrate tokenized stocks with traditional equities and everyday spending. Soon, we are going to be launching a card in Europe. If you want to hold your money in Tesla, you can absolutely do that. And then you can buy your coffee with it. You can do that with Tesla or Forkcoin or USDC. The card launch, hoping just a few weeks away, actually for our launch in Europe. So it looks like you're going to be able to use your Tesla stock and other stocks to buy coffee now. But what about Bitcoin? Why can't you buy coffee with Bitcoin? Oh yeah, that's right. You'll hold the line up for 10 minutes and you'll pay 3 times what the coffee's worth. That's why tokenization is going to be a big deal. And that's why even stocks, you're going to be able to shop with stocks. Think about that. You'll be shopping with crypto soon. You know, there's no reason to even sell your crypto going forward. I'm still looking at that passive income because I know it's coming now. You know, if we were in the 2021 cycle, I would have told you once XRP gets to a certain price point, I would sell and then buy back in on the dip. This time around, I'm not going to tell you to do that because I don't think that dip is coming. Not with institutional demand. There's going to be scarcity. You think there's not going to be more companies creating XRP treasuries? Absolutely there's going to be. Because they could utilize this cryptocurrency to move money, move tokenized assets. It doesn't matter. It moves anything of value. And that's how we will get to scarcity while the demand is still rising. And all of a sudden, while people are screaming previous cycle and market cap still, we're going to be soaring to $300, $400, $500 at a very fast pace. And it could happen over the coming months. You know, institutional adoption is going to be a very big deal. ISO has not even been priced in yet either. I think that's going to gain traction over time. And who knows, ISO could be when the banks come out of the testing phase. All of a sudden, our lives are changed like an overnight event. But until it all happens, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.